act and initiate some kind of a greater political dialogue?
I think act in the country, just like in Punjab, the Pota has come a symbol. It doesn't mean that when Pota was withdrawn, things were not working. Things are put in unlawful activities, provisions were made. But sometimes it is important to to show that we do care for your protest. Sometimes it's important to do a symbolic act. I don't think in the border it matters. Border, the armed forces works and there is an enemy, and then anybody crossing the border, you have a right to kill it down. You have a right to shoot down any armed person. Actually, the importance of public trust in the working of the army is only when there is some kind of apparent case of excesses. That time, how do the government respond? How do the army respond? How do the people respond?
That is the need for transparency at that point.
Yes, that is the time the act comes in aid of the army to keep the curtain on and don't tell anybody.
Now, Mr. Benz, now today, as you know, there was an all-party meeting, and after the meeting, a statement has been issued which says that it has been resolved to send an all-party delegation to Jammu and Kashmir. Will that help?
I think it will help. It again has a symbolic value. Maybe now the position is such, but I go to Kashmir almost every year.
But the positions are very clearly drawn, so how will it help? In the sense the BJP is opposing it, the left is in support of
once you go to Kashmir, you will find the people of Kashmir are still very warm toward the country. They are actually, this disturbance has added to the integration, because in winter they go to Goa, they go to all other, but they are actually managing tourists. So now no tourist comes in winter, they go to all over the place, and they now know that it's a country worth living. Each time actually confides that actually whenever there's a business is high, then the disturbance come. And from deep inside, they don't have love for the people who are actually destroying the valley or destroying everything. They are not really against India as such.
That's exactly what
yes,
Mr. Rana
except that in atmosphere of violence, nobody speaks out.
Mr. Rana, now, are you for a political dialogue of the kind which has been initiated, and or do you think much more needs to be done?
Political dialogue is always welcome. But what initiation they are taking, I don't know, because every time they tell us, every time they tell us we are going to have a political dialogue, but the question is what? If political dialogue means upholding a weak government, then it's not going to happen.
General Mehta, I want to draw your attention to the founder editor of a Kashmir Daily, Bashir Mansar. Now, Mansar has made a very interesting, I would say significant, not interesting, significant point today in a write-up in one of the newspapers. He says that New Delhi has discredited the institution of dialogue over the last couple of years. Is that right?
I would answer it slightly differently without dodging the question, and say that the credibility of what the government promises and what the government actually delivers has been very sadly eroded. Many times the government over the last few years has said that X, Y, Z would be done, say important things like employment, for instance, etc. But what is delivered on the ground is very poor, and it is often late. So the question of making a timeline graph that you attend to and have the ability to monitor it or establish a overview of the whole process is something that is sadly
the government actually has been dilly-dallying and kind of holding negotiations with one, discrediting that, moving on to another one, and discrediting that party. And so
in fact, just allow me to add here that from 1420 to 1470 is what Kashmiris term as a golden age of Kashmir, because that was the time when Badshah Zainul Abidin was the king for 50 years, and in a similar situation as what is happening today, he molded the whole nation together.
That's an interesting point. Maybe we should meet again to discuss that very period.
But it is related.
Yes.
Permit me to interject and add that what is actually needed is high-grade leadership at the center and at the state, which would take this
high-grade leadership. Now, it's an interesting point. I think there is no proper leadership in the valley. For example, even amongst the militants, the radical elements, I don't think there is a proper leadership.
See, I was telling you when you said that political dialogue, sometime back when Mr. Bajpayee was the Prime Minister, he went to Kashmir and everybody gave him a tremendous reception. So as the Kashmiris, they were waiting to listen from him what he will say. And when he said, we'll initiate dialogues with Pakistan, everybody was shocked. I said, what is this here? We have not asked you to have a dialogue. Because this is what I am saying. What initiation the political parties are going to take? Are they going to say, we are going to do everything for Kashmir, forget about Pakistan? Or are we going to say, no, we will talk to Pakistan, then we will talk to somebody else, and then whatever they say?
Yeah, but Mr. Advani has been talking different languages at different times. Now he is saying that if you dilute the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, it would amount to surrendering before Islamabad's strategy of breaking India's unity.
You see, that is because Islamabad, I was told their TVs are showing openly nowadays that West Kashmir is going to be with us within few days, and obviously he must have taken reference to that. But we have to always think of our side. But as he rightly said, if it is going to help us by diluting it in Srinagar or some places like they are saying Punch or Jammu or some place.
There's no harm.
No harm.
But they tell me, if we have to initiate a dialogue, who do you initiate a dialogue with? Which faction?
Say you have to, if you have to have dialogue this time, you have to have with Hurriyat, which is in itself a big surrender. But because there is nobody else controlling it there now.
So is it time to talk to Pakistan?
You see, then because Pakistan has made it clear, they say Kashmir is ours. What are you going to talk? You say either you have to put your foot down, like China puts foot down that no talks on Tibet. So you have to say no talks on Kashmir. Forget about it. People die. Either you have to be that strong, or if you have to do it willy-nilly.
Mr. Gilani, I think yesterday came out with a very different kind of a strategy. He says you work at night and protest during the day. So when do you sleep?
No, that's why. You see, as I said, if somebody has to stand up and say, okay, last time in 89 the same situation was there. When we were thrown out, it was worse than this. But at that time, it was the army saved. They put the army control, 7-8 days complete curfew, nobody was allowed to come out, and things were allowed.
Though Mr. Rana, let me tell you, some people feel that a lot of damage was done at that point of time.
Maybe,
I happened to visit the Pakistan occupied Kashmir in 1990 and 91, and a lot of people from this side of Kashmir had actually moved to Pakistan,
you could be
Pakistan
right.
occupied Kashmir, and a lot of people said that to Pakistan,
you could be
Pakistan
right.
occupied Kashmir, and a lot of people said that actually the damage was done at the time when Governor Jagmohan was in command.
See, they have all, it could be, I mean, they, as you said,
enemy country can always be depended upon to create any amount of
the choice was at that time like this.
The fact that so far as negotiation with Pakistan is concerned, if at all it is to take place, and it should take place, it should be from a position of enormous strength on our part.
Which we at this point of time we are not in a position of strength.
I think we should put our own act together and then speak to them from a position of strength, with their clear understanding that Kashmir will remain an inalienable part
So get our act together at this point of time. General Mehta, how do you see that happening?
I would say that governance has to improve radically.
So can Omar Abdullah deliver, or
yes,
should he go?
Can. Allow me to say that about 2 years back or 2.5 years back when he took over, he spoke of Naya Kashmir. He spoke of hope. He spoke of aspiration. He spoke of jobs. On all these counts, he should deliver now when he gets a chance once again. I suggest that he needs that chance and he should get it.
Can Omar give us Naya Kashmir?
I personally trust the man. He's young, he's confident, he's hopeful. He gives something future to the public. And you see, what is immediate required is a new response to control the crowd. See, they have changed tactics. They're no longer firing bullets. They're firing stones. Can't we as our armed forces create a more humane way of controlling the crowd? Do we have to always deal with a crude weapon? If we don't kill, if the crowds will slowly die down.
It is a pitiable sight to see, the protesters throwing stones and the security forces throwing stones back at them.
Fair enough.
It's happening everywhere.
Don't throw. There's a better ways of doing it. There are better way of doing it.
In fact,
Mr. Rana, before we close, running out of time, how do you bring in a Naya Kashmir so that you can go back to your homeland?
I personally feel you have to be strong. Certain decisions you have to take which might hurt, but you have to take. Because normal human weaknesses, the moment you start showing surrendering, cowardice, then the
last word from you.
I would simply like to add.
The army normally gets the last word. It's the last resort.
It is my conviction after spending substantial time with the Kashmiris. They are some of the most intelligent and finest, eloquent people I have come across. They are extremely sensitive. They need to be spoken to with great respect. They need to be understood for their emotions and tensions, and they need to be warmly hugged in every possible way that governance can hug.
I wish the position was ripe to do that.
I think that is
Thank you very
where
much
the solution lies.
for joining us in this discussion. Whether Armed Forces Special Powers Act known as AFSPA stays or goes or is amended, Kashmir is going to be a long haul. But it is time to start the process, a process which should include perhaps developmental and political initiatives. But at the same time, it is important that the cutting edge of the armed forces should not be blunted. That sure is a tall order, but it is high time we get going. With that, we end this edition of Day and Night Prime. Till we meet again tomorrow, same time. Good luck. Goodbye.